ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। Welcome all to our Saturday satsang. So today last week we discussed chapter 4 verse 1 and 2. Today we're going to go further. Like I said, this chapter is beautiful because it gives us knowledge about Krishna. And so let's see what Krishna has to say. 4.3. स एवायं मया तेद्य योगप्रोक्ता पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So beautiful. So first of all, Krishna is saying that, and this is a science. Bhagavad Gita is a science. Bhagavad Gita is not some sentiment. It's not some sentiment, which means that I can think in some way, you can think in some other way, somebody else can think in some other way. No. It is a science. It's an ancient science. Why ancient science? Because last 4.1 Krishna says that it was told by me to Vivaswan, sun god, many years ago. We discussed that, right? Like 1.2 crore years ago, at least. And what does this science deal with? This science, we know that, we have read science in school, college, which deals with the world around us. Right now, this science deals with the person who has created this world around us. This science deals with the relationship with the Supreme. So first of all, then we should understand that there is something called relationship with the Supreme. Unlike many people think that, wow, who is Lord or who is Supreme Lord? Oh, Bhagwan, he's an energy. He's light. Oh, he's light. Okay, if he's light, then how do I develop a relationship with this light? I can switch on, switch off a light. That's all relation. I have light here. I have nothing, right? Like, can I build a relationship with this light? So this is ancient science, relationship with the Supreme. So which means then the Supreme is a person. Supreme is a person. So this is ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme. And now most importantly, why it is told by me to you? Because you are my devotee and friend. So nice, this word devotee. We'll discuss that. And can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So what is the mystery in Bhagavad Gita? The mystery in Bhagavad Gita is that different people will find whatever they want to find in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Just like Krishna, Bhagavad Gita is unlimited. So if somebody wants to find impersonal Brahman in Bhagavad Gita, they will find that also. Krishna will give them the intelligence to find impersonal Brahman in Bhagavad Gita. If somebody wants to find Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that also is possible. So this is a mystery. This is not, which is why we keep saying, right? Bhagavad Gita is not in any language. Bhagavad Gita is not in Devanagari, English, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil. No. Bhagavad Gita is a science which is a mystery which has to be revealed, just to be revealed. So it is like honey in a bottle. A honey in a bottle, we can taste the honey only if the lid is open. Unless the lid is open, we cannot taste the honey. So this mystery has to be revealed to us. And fortunately for all of us, Srila Prabhupada, who is a pure devotee of Krishna, has revealed the mystery. How has he revealed the mystery? He's revealed the mystery by giving his purports, which are his commentary. So we will read the commentary now to understand what Srila Prabhupada is saying about this verse. Purport. Prabhupada says there are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. So we will stop here for some time to understand what these two words mean. Who is a demon? Anybody wants to answer? Anybody knows who is a demon? Have you seen demons? Oh, silence is not good. Anything is okay. Any answer is okay. I feel lonely by simply myself talking. If somebody also talks along with me, then I'll feel like I have company.
Demons are negative elements.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Purnima Mataji, you are saying something I can't hear.
I said
Mataji is saying those who are not Krishna conscious are demons. Okay.
The Mayavadis are demons.
Oh, why is there some problem? I'm not able to hear. 1 second. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, there's some problem with my speaker. Hare Krishna. Can somebody say something now?
Hare Krishna.
Very sorry. There's some issue here. Okay. Purnima Mataji, you were saying something.
I think demons are negative elements.
Negative elements. Okay. What are negative elements?
Negative element means the one who cause harm.
One who cause harm. Okay, fine. Okay. I think Chaitanya Priya Mataji was saying something.
Prabhuji, the Mayavadis are demons.
Mayavadis are demons. Okay. Okay. Who are Mayavadis? Who are Mayavadis? Okay. Mayavadis are demons. Okay. Anything else? Anybody wants to say who are demons?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
It is stated in 16th chapter, Prabhuji. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demonic nature.
Very nice. Perfect. Okay, so Mataji has found the verse which I was now going to discuss. So demons are not those who have to have horns and they have to look crazy or scary like Yamadutas. Actually, Yamadutas are not demons in that way because they are working for the Lord. So Dambo Darpo Bhimanascha Krodha Parushyameva cha Agnanam cha Bijatasya Partha Sampadamasurim. So these are demoniac qualities. Okay, and when I read this, I saw that all of them existed in me. Pride, arrogance. Okay, what is pride? Pride means just that, like thinking very high about ourselves, thinking we've achieved something, proud. Okay. Arrogance is like Again, very high thinking very highly about ourselves, but also in a not in a very gentle way. In what is let me see what dictionary says, which will be better to understand. Quality of being, haughtiness, conceit. So superior, we think that we are superior to somebody, and disdainful, like we disrespect others, right? Disrespectful of others. Conceit is also like pride. I think maybe there is little slight difference maybe. Excessive pride is conceit. Okay. Harshness and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature. Now, so this, if we have these qualities, then we can actually not understand Bhagavad Gita. If you have these qualities, so if you look at it, it is mostly about, myself, that I'm important, and, that others are not that important, and dealing with the world in this way, right? Like steeped in false ego. What is false ego? False ego means this, first of all, unclear understanding of who I really am, and thinking that, this body and whatever accomplishments attached to this body are superior, right? And on that platform, dealing with this world, right? So basically, self-centered people, demons are self-centered people. It's all about me, me, me. It's not even mine. Actually, it is said that this me is very high in children. Okay. And me is also very high in animals. Animals also have this concept of me, and children also have this me, because children don't have a concept of, giving to others and things like that, right? If a child is crying, it's crying because it needs something. That's it. It doesn't care whether somebody can provide for it. Nothing, right? I just want it. That's it. And as we grow, we have to move from this me to I, as in that it's not just, like I exist, then meaning of who am I, and, going into all this kind of thought process. But those who continue to remain as me, right, are demons. So that is why for children have to be given culture. Children have to be taught culture. But what do we teach at homes? Like I keep seeing elders, talking to children. Whose cycle is this? This is my, whatever, like my baby's biscuit. Like everything, we want to teach everything. We have to want to teach them that, you possess it, it's yours. And what are we teaching? We are teaching demoniac qualities. Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about, Chaitanya Charitamrita is postgraduate study of science of Krishna. So there are 26 qualities of a devotee. Now just see these qualities, hear these qualities, and see how drastically different they are from what we just heard. 26 qualities. First, he is kind. A very kind person. Now, kind doesn't mean that, he will, okay, somebody is in some material problem, he will go and solve for them. No. Kind means that he is very kind and he wants to help them actually get over their, this material body, and, that kind of kindness. Peaceful. So as practicing devotees, we have to actually develop all these qualities. And how do we develop these qualities in Krishna consciousness? We develop these qualities by simply fixing ourselves in the process of devotional service. We don't have to separately endeavor. But having said that, some of these qualities we can also try to develop. It's not like we should not try to develop at all, right? Because see, the more conscious we become about these things, the more faster we will make progress. So just because Prabhupada has said that, everything is going to be developed by devotional service, it's not like we'll say, okay, fine, you please tell Prabhu what are the 26 qualities, but I will know when they actually appear in me. That's not true. Actually, Prabhupada said, everything comes from devotional service for those who are actually completely engaged in devotional service. They don't have to do any extra endeavor. But for most of us, we are not doing 24/7 devotional service, isn't it? We are doing part-time devotional service. Part-time, right? Like whatever, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, to whatever extent we are able to give time to Krishna. Please note these words. To whatever extent we can give time to Krishna. Who has to give time to whom? We don't know, but we are now giving time to Krishna, saying like, I am more important than you, Krishna. I am giving you 1 hour. Be happy. Don't ask for more. No, anyway, so we have our own responsibilities, etc. And we are trying to give some time to Krishna. Now, if we just do part-time devotional service, it is going to take a long time for these qualities to develop. So the motivation for us should be to increase the amount of time that we spend in Krishna consciousness, and also simultaneously become conscious about these qualities and then try to develop them. When we hear from Bhagavatam, when we hear about other devotees, observe these beautiful qualities that a devotee has and appreciate it, and slowly try to incorporate some of them. We can try. It's not like we should not try at all. So first is kindness. So we should be kind to all the jivas, all living entities. How we become kind? By giving them Krishna consciousness. Peaceful, totally at peace. Whether there is havoc outside or whether there is everything is peaceful, devotee remains peaceful because he is always situated in Krishna. His devotee is not situated in this material world. He's not situated in this material world, right? He's situated in the spiritual world. In the sense, his consciousness is completely in Krishna. So he's very peaceful about his own situation. Whatever situation he might be in, he's very peaceful about it. He's very peaceful about whatever is happening around him because he knows Lord is in control. Truthful. So for the sake of Krishna, he's just say the truth, okay? But of course, for the sake of Krishna, he'll also lie. But he is generally truthful. Wherever it's not required, as much as possible, he will avoid saying, like, why I'm saying as much as possible. So for example, suppose say it's Ekadashi and you want to do 64 rounds and you have some work at home. I work at office. You can just lie saying that I'm unwell and I'm not coming today. That's it. So that's also being truthful because you're doing it for Krishna, to please Krishna. Right? So he's truthful. He's equipoised. Again, equipoised. Heat, cold, happiness, distress. Like one has to think why Krishna in the second chapter said, Matara Sparshastu Kaunteya Sita Ushna Sukha Dukkha Dha. Saying happiness and distress both tolerate. Why should we tolerate happiness? Because if we get too excited when there is happiness, we'll get too upset when we have distress. So we have to be equipoised. But then people will ask, okay, what is the fun in living like this if we can't enjoy happiness? Why enjoy only happiness? Enjoy both happiness and distress, no? What is the problem? Because neither of them are in your control. It is happening because one person has done some good work, punya is getting happiness. Done some papa, bad work, so is getting distress. So why be excited about anything? Only thing we should be excited about is Krishna consciousness. Nothing else is worth being excited because it's all bondage. At the end of the day, it's just going to bind us in this material world. Faultless. He's faultless. You cannot find fault in a devotee. Now, when we say this, you cannot find fault in a devotee. It's not that he is faultless in all his material actions. He might not be. But he's faultless because he's held on to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. In that he is faultless because he's faultlessly executing devotional service. So he's faultless. He's magnanimous. He has a very big heart. He's ready to give whatever he has to people, to Krishna. He's very mild, opposite, completely opposite of demon, very mild, clean, internally and externally clean, non-possessive. He doesn't think that he possesses anything. Whatever is there with him, he thinks, okay, it is given by Krishna and it is going to be used in Krishna service. So he doesn't have any sense of possession. He doesn't think about anything as mine. So it's completely, perfectly fixed in Yukta Vairagya, using everything in Krishna's service. He's a well-wisher to all. Like I said, he's kind and he's a well-wisher to all. He's satisfied. He's absolutely satisfied with whatever he has. No hankering, no sochati, no kankshati, no desire for anything material, but spiritually he has intense greed. Please understand this. A devotee is absolutely satisfied with materially, but he is absolutely dissatisfied. He is greedy for accomplishing spiritual things, to achieve Radha and Krishna's service, to go to Goloka Vrindavan, to be situated as a pure devotee. He is absolutely greedy about it. Right? And Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he talks about this greed. Yeah. He says that this greed is actually the platform of Raganuga Bhakti, which is the next stage of devotional service. So we are practicing Vaidhi Bhakti and then subsequently we have to go to Raganuga Bhakti. So for that, this greed is required. Greed. We have to serve Krishna with greed. Right? So he's satisfied materially, but he has greed for Krishna. He's completely surrendered to Krishna. Please read 18th chapter, verse 66 from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishati iti vishvaso goptritve varnam tata atmanikshepa karpanyo shadvida sharanagati. 6 ways he's completely surrendered to the Lord. Every decision he takes is based on this. Is what I am doing favorable to Krishna, not favorable to Krishna consciousness? And he decides based on that. He doesn't decide based on is this favorable materially or is not favorable materially. He doesn't do that. That is for materialists. A devotee always does, is this favorable for Krishna, not favorable for Krishna consciousness. And when he is doing that, he has absolute, complete faith that Krishna will protect me. Okay, I'm taking some decision. I know some devotees who just left their jobs, which were very taxing, and took up a normal job, right, which was paying them maybe 30-40% less. But they took it because it was just not allowing them to do bhakti. And they said, this is pratikulyasya varjanam. This is too much of, endeavor, over endeavor. So I said, it's okay. Krishna will take care. Rakshishati iti vishvaso. Goptritve varnam tata. Why? Because he is the maintainer. Yesterday I was telling some devotee. He is the maintainer. We are not maintaining the house. Like all Arjuna's great valor, etc., was given by Krishna and it was taken away by Krishna. So Krishna will give when it is required. Krishna will take away when it is not required. So he is the maintainer. He takes care. Atma Nikshepa. So especially for Grihasthas, we should look at this home as Krishna's home, Krishna's temple. And we should just think about ourselves as his servants. So put ourselves at his lotus feet and say, okay, how does a servant deal with things? Servant goes and just tells everything to the master, saying, master, this is the situation. Please, you see what needs to be done. And he'll go to do his work. That's it. Just engage in devotional service. Any problem, just put it at Krishna's lotus feet and move on. That's it. Simple. No big concern, worry, etc. Krishna will take care. And Karpanya. complete humility. So these 6 qualities are absolutely critical in a devotee. We have to think about developing these. So with these qualities, one is surrender to Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written beautiful songs on Sharanagati. Then without hankering, like I said, he's satisfied and he doesn't have any hankering. He doesn't have a desire, he doesn't have any hankering. Hankering means excessive desire, nothing. He's simple. Simple. You know, this is something which devotees find so difficult to develop. Simplicity. We want to make things so complex because that's what we are used to. Everything around us is complex, which is a given, but it's not required that we also remain complex. We can remain simple. Simple in our thinking. This is one of the qualities of speech, mind, austerities of the mind, simplicity. Krishna talks about it in 17th chapter. Simple. Simple in thinking. Something, take things at face value as much as possible. Oh, somebody said something. Then we go, oh, why this happened, that happened. Maybe this is because we make the situation so complex. No, nothing. Okay, somebody said something not pleasing. It's okay. My karma phala here from this side, leave it. If it is important, act on it. Be objective, be simple. Don't complicate life. Right? Simple in thinking, simple in all requirements also. Right? Not like, wanting to buy new stuff and going here and there. And see, the more we engage materially, the more difficult it is going to be for us to become devotees. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, desires will keep flowing like rivers. One who will not satisfy these desires, he will find peace, not the one who keeps satisfying his desires. So have simple needs, must be simple. Food must be simple. See, initially when people come to Krishna consciousness, we say eat as much prasadam as you want, because everything we are cutting off from, like non-prasadam, eating outside, tea, coffee, this, that, and all that, it might be a bit of a shock for people. So we say, just eat whatever you want, whatever prasadam you want to eat, how much ever you want to eat, you can eat. But that doesn't mean that we continue like that as we progress in Krishna consciousness. Because as we progress in Krishna consciousness, we should become very simple in our food requirements also. Simple, whatever will give us good health, that is what we should eat. Why we need good health? So that we can use this body, which is a vehicle, in Krishna consciousness. That is the only intention, not for sense gratification. Even, so many devotees I see who comment about prasadam, saying, oh, there is more salt, there is less salt, it tastes, is okay. No, we cannot comment, criticize prasadam. Krishna has eaten it. What is our position? We think that we are higher, we can comment. Krishna is himself he says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Tvamya Bhaktya Prayachati. You give, even for a sweet, you put salt and give, Krishna will accept, because if you're given with devotion. That doesn't mean that we put sugar, salt into sweet and give, but he will not really consider that. He's not eating for taste. He's not eating for health. He's not eating to fill his stomach. He's eating because he just accepts whatever has been offered with love and devotion. So we should also subsequently just accept whatever comes to our plate is Krishna's mercy. Now we are saying mercy has less salt, more salt. So ridiculous, right? So keep eating requirements also very simple. Fixed. It's very nice. Fixed. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. He is fixed in whatever he needs to do with respect to Krishna consciousness. Not like, oh, this, Prabhu, okay, today I will do this, tomorrow something else comes, day after something else. No. If some service is given, fixed, be fixed in that service. Every day we have to get up at 4:30, be fixed in that. Every day we have to chant minimum 16 rounds, be fixed in that. Every day we have to eat prasadam, be fixed in that. So all the activities of Krishna consciousness, one has to be fixed, not like sinusoidal wave. One day super excited, 30, 48 rounds, next day 5 rounds, not like that. Consistent, fixed in whatever we are doing. Okay. Self-controlled. Oh, so difficult. Self-controlled. A devotee is always in control of himself or herself. When I say himself, it also includes her Mataji's. He's in complete control. He decides how he needs to react to situations, whether he needs to react at all. If he needs to react, how he needs to react. So his complete mind is in his control. And for non-devotees, actually for non-devotees or even initial stages for us, Atma is somewhere stuck, right? Like Atma is thinking, oh, I'm not in control, I'm stuck in this body. Or they don't even know, they just think they're the body, right? And even devotees, when we start to know that, okay, I'm not this body, but still we think that I am, because Krishna says that we are in the modes. So the modes are in control, Prabhu. So how can I'm getting pushed to do this. I'm not able to control myself. Krishna also says, Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna. So which means that we have to raise above the 3 modes. And we have free will. Please understand this. We have free will. In every situation, we have the opportunity to either follow the 3 modes that we have acquired, or behave like a devotee. We have the free will. We choose not to live like a devotee. We choose to live according to our modes. Of course, initially there might be a little bit of push, but as we start practicing bhakti, we realize, okay, a situation is here. I have 2 options. We can very clearly see before the situation happens. And, when we develop in 3rd chapter, Krishna talked about this, right? About spiritual strength. When we develop enough spiritual strength, we'll be able to control ourselves and not go in the wrong path, not go in the material path, and stick onto the spiritual path or the path of devotees, how devotees deal with situations. So we should have self-control. Balanced eater. Okay. Simplicity only. Balanced eater. Balanced eater means like not too much, not too less. What happens? Too much means then, health problems, because then we put on weight, then there are other problems because of that, etc., etc. Too less means my body might not support our activities. So we should eat. See, in bhakti, we don't do too much of austerity. We do some bit of austerities. Like, for example, devotees are doing Chaturmasya. It's okay. Chaturmasya is not that way mandatory, but we can do it. It's a little bit of austerity that we do for pleasure of Krishna. But it's not required. I mean, getting up in the morning, every day, Mangalarti, doing morning program, reading Prabhupada's books is a big austerity every day. Prasadam. So these things are good. These things are good austerities to do for Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, we don't do austerity. We do Yukta Vairagya. We engage everything in Krishna service. That is our way to, progress. In, previous Dhyana, Marga and previous Yugas, there used to be a lot of austerity. So, but in Bhakti, we don't do. In fact, actually, Anukula, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Gnana Karmadi. So Srila Rupa Goswami says Gnana Karmadi Anavritam. That Adi means too much of austerities. Too much. So much austerities that we forget that our focus is Krishna. We get engaged in the austerity only. That's not required for bhakti. Bhakti is very balanced. Now, we don't become like Tyagi. It's not like we just renounce everything. No, we just treat everything as Krishna's property. That's it. Sane. He's not crazy. He's very sane in his dealings, etc. Mannerly. So even, when other people are looking at a devotee, say, okay, this is very nice. Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, saying that one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, he becomes dear to other people. People become dear to him. Because he's like that. He's a very likable, lovable person. Because he has Krishna in his heart. Krishna is lovable. So his devotee is also lovable. So it's very mannerly, prideless, completely opposite to the demon, completely prideless. No, you think, yeah, who am I? Trinadapi sunichena tararopi saishnuna. I'm just a straw, worthless straw on the street. I'm nobody. I've come down from spiritual world. There are 3/4 of the creation are devotees. And I've come down here because I wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. What a fallen state. So what is the reason for me to have any pride? What about am I going to have a pride about what? Materially, it's all going to anyway get destroyed, because it's anyway temporarily linked to this material body. I am not this body. Spiritually, what have I achieved? I have fallen. So what is the reason for me to be prideful, to have pride? Nothing. So no pride is very grave. Some people think that, okay, just keep bubbling, smiling, laughing, giggling, devotee. No, devotee is grave. See, we should understand why these are so important, because see, when we have to do these things, right? Like suppose say you want to just look at anybody and it's your nature, not your nature, but you keep smiling at people. Now, of course, if your nature from childhood, you are like smiling at people, it's fine. You continue to smile because that's your nature, right? But internally, like the devotee is grave. He doesn't just want to expend his energy doing all these worthless things which have no value, right? He's grave. He's always thinking about Krishna. He's absorbed in Krishna. So he's not frivolous. He just doesn't make some passing statement, some engages in unworthy conversations, right? He doesn't do that. He's very grave. The beautiful qualities. He's very sympathetic. Feel sorry. Oh, fallen souls. They don't have Krishna. They don't know about Krishna consciousness. Can I give them Krishna consciousness? Okay, I'm not qualified, but it's okay. Whatever I know, I will give. Sincerely, I will just try to give. If they don't want, they will spit at me. It's fine. I don't care. I have sympathy for them. I will try. Friendly. He's friendly. Friendly means he always looks at others' problems and tries to see, okay, can I help them? Not materially. He doesn't engage materially, not like, but friendly means, being there with people, helping them understand the reality of life, helping them understand, helping them deal with situations, making them fixed in Krishna consciousness. So he's there. He understands others' problems. He wants to help them make progress. Poetic. We see this in Srila Prabhupada. Beautiful songs he wrote on the Jaladuta. So full of, we'll see if we have time today, we can chant those. Actually, it's beautiful. It's poetic. Prabhupada is very poetic. And of course, all our previous acharyas, actually, our whole line of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, all poems, like they have written beautiful, like songs. We know of our acharyas have written so many songs, and so many other books that have been written by acharyas, all poetic, Sanskrit, beautiful to hear. Srimad Bhagavatam, for that matter, so beautiful to hear. That is why we should chant. We should chant nicely, loudly chant Srimad Bhagavatam verses. It has its own impact. So they're poetic. They're expert. Whatever work they take up for Krishna, they will do perfectly, whether they have the ability or not. Why? Because they are surrendered. So when they are surrendered, Krishna empowers them. So then their work becomes perfect. So they're expert in doing that. And they're silent. Grave and silent go together. They're silent. They're not simply opening mouth, blah, 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 unnecessary talking. Even amongst devotees, you should not do prajalpa. You should not do unnecessary talking. It's worthless. It doesn't please Krishna. So these are beautiful 26 qualities of a devotee. I'm going to repeat it. Please, if somebody wants to make a note, record, please do whatever you want. He's kind, peaceful, truthful, equipoised, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrendered to Krishna, without hankering, simple, fixed, self-controlled, a balanced eater, sane, mannerly, prideless, grave, sympathetic, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. So 26 beautiful qualities of a devotee. Now we go back to the purport that we started discussing. So Prabhupada is saying here that there are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. Because Arjuna was a devotee of the Lord, he was selected. Why? Because he was devotee of the Lord, he was selected as a recipient of this great science. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are number of editors of this editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by devotees and some of them have commentaries by demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demoniac, however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by this great science of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So there are so many people speaking about Bhagavad Gita, so many editions of Bhagavad Gita, right? All totally useless because it is given by demons who are non-devotees, because non-devotees cannot enter into the mystery of this science. Like I said, it is not about Sanskrit. It's not simply ability to understand Sanskrit, right? One has to be a devotee to realize what Krishna is saying. And also on the internet, I keep telling people, you know, don't go and just start looking for any lecture, anybody speaking anything about Bhagavad Gita. Unless one is a devotee, he cannot give us the understanding, right? And how do we decide whom to hear from? Based on their personal dealings, how they deal with, how they live their life. Are they living life like a devotee? Are they only speaking? So we have to understand the person's nature. We have to understand who that person is in real life, not just on screen. Right? And then we should hear from such people. And we should also know the science. Guru Sadhu Shastra. We should know the science. We should know that if somebody is talking about Mayavad, somebody is saying that Krishna is Nirakar. Krishna doesn't have any form. He just takes it. We just imagine of a temporary form for Krishna, because, you know, then when we become perfect, then we realize anyway, it's all zero. Now, when people are talking like this, we should know that they're talking nonsense. Second thing is, people will talk very nicely about, you know, all this Leela of Krishna and other Leelas and all that. And then finally they will conclude, everything is zero. Everything is just light, energy. Now, after all that class, if they say something like everything is light and energy, then you just heard from a Mayavad and you wasted your time. Not just that, the contamination of that Mayavadi would have entered your heart, right? And also hearing, you know, many times there are classes, they say they're talking Bhagavad Gita, but there is no mention about Krishna. How can you talk about Bhagavad Gita without speaking about Krishna or his devotees? Can't be. See, Krishna means Krishna is with his devotees, right? Devotee means Krishna is with them. So you can't speak about Bhagavad Gita without speaking about Krishna or his devotees. Right? So we should not hear from such people. Should not hear from such people. So be fixed. And even that is the other thing that I keep recommending to devotees, saying that be fixed about whom you hear from, who they are, etc., etc. But, you know, don't hear from, there are innumerable number of lectures. There's no point just drowning ourselves with all lectures. First, we should hear Prabhupada, read Prabhupada, hear Prabhupada's lectures. then, if you are fixed on being initiated by some guru, then hear his lectures. That's it. Instead of hearing, these, we go and hear people all over because they are nice, they are entertaining, they make it so interesting for me to hear. This is not the criteria for hearing. We need Bhagavad Gita as it is. We don't need some entertainment. So we should be clear in terms of whom we are hearing from. And one should follow the disciplic succession. There is no deviation from the parampara. Okay, so this is what this verse is saying. So I'll stop here. Just give me a moment. I'm just pausing the recording. Okay, so with that we will close this discussion for today. I think some very beautiful takeaways for aspiring devotees, serious devotees who want to develop these qualities. Please meditate on this. See, it's very important that how do we internalize, how do we become more Krishna conscious by actually meditating on everything that we hear. Not, we are not in this business of hearing and living from this side. No, we have to meditate. We have to think. We have to first develop a liking. We should feel, oh, it is so nice if I can be like, we should envision ourselves with having all these qualities. Saying, oh, it will be so nice that if I can have all these qualities. And then aspire to develop those qualities, right? Associate with those devotees who have these qualities genuinely. Learn from them. Learn from seeing them, how they deal with things. Hear from Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So beautiful. All devotees show these qualities. Read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. I mean, and that was one of the initial books that hit me so hard. I said, Prabhupada has done so much. I should at least try to do something little insignificant service in his mission. So impactful, so life-changing. Right, so yeah, please meditate on these things, and I'll stop here and open to any questions, comments. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.